Hi guys, Terry here. Hey, I've ordered something new from Mosaic Moments. As you know, I've been doing a series on the monthly club. This is not in that club. This is something new that they came out with. So they call it a template grid, and I'm curious as to why they've given us this product. So I think it cost about $35, but I will have a link on my blog post to their website. But this is an interesting concept. They're giving us a template, and if you're not familiar with Mosaic Moments, this is where you've got the grid paper for your 12 by 12 scrapbook layouts, and you can cut your photos into little squares or larger squares and just get a way to get a whole bunch of photos on your paper. But they've come up with this new system, and I'm quite confused because this template is going to allow us, you can see it's got little slits in it where we can take a pen or a pencil and use our own paper. I'll just turn this one over. You could just use your own 12 by 12 paper and draw the lines. So it's interesting, right? Because they sell the paper with the grid marks on it. So now they're selling this template that allows you to draw those lines on there. So their selling point is that you could draw, let's say you've got a pattern paper and you just want to do the grid system over here on one side of your page, or maybe you've got a two-page layout and over here on this side you're going to do the mosaics. So you could draw the grid over here and likewise over on this page, and then just do your little mosaics on the side, and then have just regular, either a decorated part here or your title or what have you, and this part of the page would not have the lines on it. So love that idea. It's just interesting to me. I don't know whether they're going to in the future get out of selling the cardstock. Their cardstock does cost a little bit more than buying just a pack of 12 by 12 paper. But I always thought it was worth it because it had the lines on it. So yeah, it's a very interesting concept that they're going to let us start drawing the lines on here. Oh, I like that the template has I don't know if you can see it, it has a black line for where to line up on your paper, so that's handy. And then you could just take a pencil and draw your lines on it. So isn't that handy? So the other thing that came with, well, when they were first offering this, when it first came out, oh, okay, so let's see what this planner is. Mosaic Moments Page Planner. Turn your snapshots into art. Each scale is 1 inch. Oh, so it's just a little tablet here where I can kind of plan out that I'm going to do, let's say I know I'm going to do a photo here and a photo here, and then maybe my title is going to be here. So I'm not going to draw the lines here. I'm just going to do my photos down here. So it's just a tablet of paper where you can just kind of sketch out your idea. So that's handy. That's really cute. So that came with this when you bought it here early on, and like I said, I'll have a link to their page to see if it still has that. But yeah. And then they just sent a little 30 Degrees of Fun is another die that they have. This looks like just an advertisement. And just a little pattern card. So I don't know if they sell these cards, but this just looks like a little advertisement that they've inserted in here. I do want to get this 30 Degrees of Fun die. Looks really cute. And then they've got an accessory one that goes with it too. I looked yesterday and I didn't see that on their website. But they've got this 30 degree die, and then people were asking for a way to cut out this little border without having to put the whole thing through your cutting machine. So I do have that on my wish list. But let me show you something else. So a while ago, a girlfriend and I were talking about our scan and cuts, and we said, it seems like we could have our brother Scan and Cut scan this and then have that pattern where it would draw the lines on here. So let me show you how that's done. So if you're not familiar with the Brother Scan and Cut, what's nice about the Brother Scan and Cut is it will cut shapes just like your Cricut machine, but what is nice is you can lay something on here and scan it. So it's very nice for, let's say I've got a bunch of stamped images. I could scan it and then tell the Scan and Cut to get around those stamps. So it's a nice way you can avoid buying all the coordinating dies that go with your stamp sets. So love it for that. They also have a separate scanning mat that I use for scanning my 12 by 12 pages. So that works great. You put your, it's not a sticky mat, it just has a cover on it, and you insert your page in here, run it through your scanner, and that way your Brother Scan and Cut machine will scan a 12 by 12 layout. And it works out great because it is very hard to capture a photo of your 12 by 12 layouts. So love that so that I can make my scrapbook pages digital. But you don't have to have this. This is a separate mat. It's a scanning mat. And always buy the mats that go with your model of the Scan and Cut too. So what we want to do is I want to use my Brother's Scan and Cut to scan in one of their grid papers. So my mat has kind of lost its sticky, so I'm going to just use a little bit of tape runner here, just on each of the corners. I don't want this to go anywhere. I could either stick this on this mat or I could simply insert it into the non-sticky scanning mat. But I want to show you that you can do this with the regular sticky mat. Okay. I wouldn't want to use like a brand new mat that's super sticky because you might rip this paper when you peel it off. But you know, just pull it off carefully and it shouldn't rip it. But I'm going to load this into the Scan and Cut and tell it to scan this pattern. I'm loading the mat. And then I'm telling it to scan. And it's important to tell it that we want to save the data. So scan to cut data. And then we're going to press the start button. Okay, and then over here on the machine it says to frame the image, and I'm pressing OK, and then it's going to recognize all those lines. And I probably should have used like a black and white sheet, not a green one, so we'll see how well it recognizes the green. But this is the idea. You're scanning one of the Mosaic Moments grid paper so that you have that pattern, and then it'll recognize it. And then you could use it to put in just a regular piece of 12 by 12 cardstock, whether it's a pattern paper or just a solid color. You could then put it in there and then tell it to draw. You can replace the blade with one of the pens. The Brother Scan and Cut has a pack of pens that you can buy. So love that. So you just use one of those markers and it would draw the lines on your 12 by 12 paper. So love the Brother Scan and Cut for that. And what I tell people too is it's nice to, you know, I don't want to do it to not have people buy their grid paper. But now with that template, if they're getting out of that business of the of selling the paper, I don't know where they're going with that template. But you can always use your Scan and Cut to draw it on your 12 by 12 paper. The other thing I always tell people too is if you're going to put this in a 12 by 12 pocket page, you could use it to draw the lines on the back of the page. And then that way you've got the Mosaic grid on both sides of your 12 by 12 page inside your album. So I love it for that. Okay, so if I tell it to look at the lines here, as expected, the silver lines on the green paper really didn't pick up. So I should do this with a white paper with the black lines, and then the lines will show up here. But I'm going to tell it to do the lines, and then I'm going to save that pattern. So let me show you where I have scanned that, and I've got it stored on my machine. So I go to my Save Data on my machine, and if I scroll down through here, here is the grid. So had I used, if I had used the white paper with the black lines, it would have seen it. And it doesn't even look really good on here, but when it draws it draws it perfectly. And lastly, I'll just show you, here's how I'm storing my template. I've got it over in this large fridge bin container. I like it because it holds my dies that don't fit into the boxes, and it holds some other templates and some embossing folders. So I've got that over near my die station, so it'll be nice and close to my Mosaic Moments art bin, and that way I'll have that stuff all together. So it works out good. But it is interesting now that they've created this template where people could buy this one time and just draw it on their own paper. So I'm curious if they're getting out of the paper business. So I wanted to show you that and show you what is possible with your Brother Scan-A-Cut. And subscribe if you haven't. I love to show tips and pointers like this for scrapbooking and card making and sometimes quilting. So thanks everyone. Have a great week.